pleasure to speak with you. I really enjoyed the thing with feathers. I thought it was so interesting to pair with Eric, the TV show you did last year, because both have these fathers that go through just incredible amount of turmoil, and we even see manifestations of the voices inside their heads. What draws you to these characters and these very tortured performances? Because I would think after doing one, you would want a break, but you jumped right back into very similar territory.
Yeah, I mean, these things, they kind of manifested very close to one another. And there was discussion about the parodies, but I felt they were nuanced and culturally different enough just by their locale and what they had to say. And this one really is about a journey of grief over a year. The other one's more about losing a son and the schizophrenic split of this very unwell man coming undone. And it's only real to him, whereas in this version, the crow is real to the boys as well. It's that shared family, what's the word, transformative or illustrative being that becomes Crow, and it's the same for both of them. They're very challenging roles. Obviously, to get back to your question, they have a great deal of breadth and risk, and yeah, there's a lot of meat on the bone with these characters.
Especially with this film, because I find it rare that films don't just view grief as something to overcome. This is really about accepting it and living with it. What was most
Precisely.
interesting to you about expressing that in your performance?
There is hope when you realize that. So, I mean, thank you for understanding that and you're reading the film, because it's very important to me that this isn't. Look, we're not. People deal with this in all different ways. It's a universal experience of the human condition, grieving, and you can't love without losing at some point, whether it's a person or a relationship or whatever it might be that's dear to you that goes. And in it, you find yourself. You never lose the thing that causes it. It travels with you, but it becomes manageable. It becomes part of you, part of the agreement of life. And I think that's a very beautiful part of this film. It's really manifest in the family unit and how at the beginning he's trying to control it. He's trying to separate himself and his grief from his children. And the hope for me that comes out of it is the love that that the children especially are able to show their dad when he is vulnerable to his emotions. They see him for what he is, a man who's really struggling, who they love. And when they phalanx together in that moment in the woods, for me, that's when the Emily Dickinson poem, which the book is a misquote of purposely, grief is the thing with feathers. Emily Dickinson's poem is hope is the thing with feathers. So yeah, it's a brilliant sort of tied in with the metaphor, brilliant title for this piece by Max
It's really
Prompton.
beautiful. There's also a pretty wild scene early on where a giant crow man's just beating the hell out of you.
Yeah,
You've done wild works before, and Marvel can get strange, but
yeah,
how do you approach something like that, which is very goofy, like when
yeah,
taken standalone, but
yeah.
it's very impactful in the film?
It is. It is. I mean, it was like a day at the office in terms of I'd been there before in Marvel Land. Look, I think this is a film that dares to switch tones. It dares to blend genres and filmic influences from horror to Creature Workshop, Jim Henson type puppeteering, and then also hopefully domestic, nuanced verite in terms of observing the psychological strains of a man becoming undone with grief, and to play with all of those takes. You just there's two things for me that it has parity with. One is grief itself, because it's constantly shifting and changing its form. It doesn't work itself out in a sort of linear way either. It can reverse back to the potency of the first feeling, or can just flatline. It's a many flavored emotion to have to go through. And I think the film plays with that idea as the book does. And yet there is a journey in it. There is a progression, but it's really about the boys and dad coming to a place of understanding and acceptance. But yeah, I mean, there were a lot of weird days at the office on this one, even by someone who's been in the Marvel Cinematic Universe's standards.